It's the third annual Bowties and Butterflies. I can't believe it, 3 years. Looking really better and better. Sydney spends months getting this thing ready. I think she deserves a stand. I want to welcome everybody, and just a medical aside, we've got a couple of epidemics going through the community. There's a respiratory influenza bug and a GI bug, and we have a lot of people not here with us tonight, my significant other included, who are very ill and didn't want to share the wealth with everybody else. So our thoughts will be with them. We're missing quite an event. I wanted to welcome everybody. Again, I can't believe it's been 3 years. When you checked in, you got a little card that has outlined all the events that are going on tonight. My daughter Zoe and her friends from Florida State University, the Gambling Commission. Yeah. Running blackjack outside, that was a lot of fun. I lost all my money. I don't think they know how it's supposed to work. But, I wanted to also point out the POW artists. Where are you guys? There they are. There you are. They got in the boardroom just as you came in. These wonderful artists are spending their time and talent, and the POW stands for Pastel, Oil, and Watercolor. This artwork is sold to benefit other people. They're helping their community through the love of art, is how they put it. And tonight they're benefiting the Place of Possibility with their sales of the artwork. And you can see it all around the silent auction down in front and the boardroom down below. So I'd ask you all to stop in and check that out. It's just amazing. The silent auction is still going on. That'll be going on. People have been asking, when does that close down? It's going to be much later. So there's still time to check out everything we have. Some amazing gifts and items. And that'll be going on. We'll call it later on, much later after dinner. The door prizes and the 50-50 raffle. Door prizes, everybody got a ticket when you checked in. 50-50 raffle, we'll still have tickets available for that. And I got to tell you, it's over $1,500 right now. It might even be close to $2,000. We haven't counted it yet, but we started the night with $1,300. So we're doing really well if you want to get a chance at that. And I think Mark won last year, and he donated half of that back to us. That was a great thing for him to do for us. Nice. And lastly, the champagne raffle. We have the necklace and the knife. We've all had a chance to take a look at. The necklace is valued at $1,000. I think the knife, where's Maria?
$850.
$850. You get your choice. If your numbers open the combination, it's all yours. You get to pick one or the other. So there's still several champagne glasses left, so there's still opportunity. You don't want to miss out on that one. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm going to introduce our MC for the night, who I just met, Fred Tristan. He's come all the way from Montreal to be with us tonight. He's actually a member of the Canadian Army. He does this sort of thing as a profession, MCing, and he's here to generate energy and activity with the group, and he's going to come up with Zoe Delahaye, my daughter, straight from Tallahassee, and I'll turn it over to you guys. Fred and Zoe.
I just put the mic on, so we're going to make sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, that's where it's important to do this before, so you don't talk like that, but it's all right. How are you doing, guys? You doing good?
Yes. Great.
Now, the answer that I just got is a very low energy. So is it okay if we do something a little different to start the night? Is it okay with you?
Yes.
I need your permission because it's going to be a little different. Is it okay with you?
Yes.
Awesome. So the first task I'm going to ask you to do is to look on your right, to look on your left, and to have a deep, high connection with the person that is on your right and on your left. And do that now, please. Look on your right, look on your left, first. And I can actually. Awesome, back here. Awesome.
Okay.
Now,
This was a lot more short.
Now, I asked you to do that because those people, the person on your right and the person on your left, are officially your Joy Buddies for Connect. And you have a very special mission. First mission for your Joy Buddy, you're gonna go back on your right, go back on your left, and you're gonna look at them deeply in the eyes, and you're gonna say, "Stop it!" So you're gonna go to the right, go on your left, and say, "Stop it!" And do that now, please. All right, back here.
Stop it!
Back here, stop it now. Awesome. Well, the reason I asked you to do that is first, to wake you up.
Yeah.
And second, is to ask you to tell your Joy Buddy to stop judging. It's part of the human condition. We judge everything and everyone in a split of a second, every time. But when we really stop judging, it allows us to be present. When we stop judging, it allows us to be open for learning. And open up our minds for learning, and open up our heart for possibilities. Now, I have a question for you. Did you know that each of the organs in our body actually have their own electric current?
Yes.
Each of the organs in our own bodies have their own electric currents. And each of this electric, I have to pronounce it properly. I'm French Canadian, by the way. So each of those electric currents have their own magnetic field. Magnetic field, I practice that, good. And the magnetic field of the heart is actually 60 times more powerful than any other organs in your body. And that's a good thing if you're at a table with really positive and awesome people, because every time they have a feeling inside of them, it's impacting everybody around the table. It's impacting actually 6 to 10 feet everywhere around you. So it's your job tonight to look at your Joy Buddy, making sure they're having a lot of fun, and opening up. Being present and opening up your heart for possibilities. Is it good? Yeah. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. And now, I told you
Stop it.
that it's important to open up your heart for possibilities, but it's also important to open up your wallet for everything that is your time. Is that good? All right. I'm gonna pass it to George. We're gonna go over a little stuff, and then we're gonna continue with the night. So do you wanna just do a resume of what's going on outside and inside?
Go, Zoe.
Can you, I didn't get a fancy mic this one. So, like my dad talked about a little bit, we have this silent auction going on in the back there, and that's going to continue on throughout the night. There are still some really good items back there for really cheap, so if you guys want to go back and have a look around at what we've got, there's some great deals going on back there.
Christmas shopping.
Woo! Right, yes. So then we've got the 50-50 raffle going on. My dad talked about a little bit about that as well. Which
It's now over $2,000.
Yeah.
Now over $2,000.
Oh, wow. Great. And then we have the 2 items up here as well. And then blackjack might be. So we've got, there's the alcohol basket that was the prize for the blackjack players tonight. We had a great time. There's only a couple tickets in that bottle back there, so if you played, the odds are in your favor. And then there's also the gift card for, what was the restaurant? Stefan's? Stefan's, yeah, $100 gift card for that also. So,
Great. Donated positive.
thank you. And so I think that's it. That's all we got going on.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right?
Awesome.
Yeah, and then so I wanted to take a minute to introduce our next speaker. Are you done?
Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, if you have had the honor of spending even 5 minutes talking to my mom, that you would know that she does absolutely every and anything for every person that she's ever met. Me and my friends, everybody she comes in contact with, and it is because of and thanks to her that we all have the honor of being here tonight. So I just wanted to take a minute and first give her a round of applause and then welcome her up to the stage, my mom, Sydney Dillon.
exchanging mics. I'm inviting you. Yeah. So you can either watch it or I'm gonna have you do something actually because I know that some of you know each other at your table, but some of you don't. So please introduce yourself to a person that you've never met before. Just introduce yourself and start talking to them. You can stand up and move around, but just introduce yourself to a person you've never met before.
Hi, Sabrina.
I think this. However,
All of us are like,
We're not there.
I love this. You've never worn them?
Okay, can everyone hear me? Awesome. How's everyone doing tonight? Good. Does everybody know everyone's name here? We got it going? I'm going to start off by sharing something very, very, very special to me. This was written by a young man, and when I read it, it blew me away. So I'd like to read this to all of you. Just set a context for this a little bit. We have a special group of people that I've been interacting with for, I think, about 10 years in my world. Zach spent time there, Zoe spent time there, Fred spent time there, Jeffrey spent time there. So he wrote this to interact and reach out with that particular group of people. So I'm going to read it exactly like he wrote it, and he wrote it for one of our previous events. And I just wanted to set the context for that so that you understand why it might not make a lot of sense in the beginning. He writes, I just shared this post in the most recent Warrior page as I crewed it, but I also wanted to share it with my Warrior Nation family. Do we have any enlightened warriors in the room? Woo! 1, 2, 3. Hey there, warriors. I hope everyone is doing well since we were all together at camp making unforgettable memories. To any fellow warriors in the Central Florida area this weekend, we are coming together to enjoy a lovely Sunday, do yoga in the park, listen to good music, and raise money for a wonderful cause. As you may or may not remember, Sydney, also known as Deerheart, was part of the Peaks rotation as well as myself this past camp. We chose to be on the same rotation together because we have a very close relationship that has bonded us throughout the years. She has been like a second mother, not only to me, but to so many other young people who have had the blessing of crossing paths with her. In that spirit, before she was bringing me to Enlightened Warrior Camp, she was bringing her amazing son, Zachary. Zach and I met in sophomore year of high school when I was the new kid. Within a matter of days, we became inseparable, and before we knew it, we were the best of friends. There was always something extremely different about Zach that I could never put my finger on. The way he perceived life, the way he thought about things that the average person would never even notice. Until I went to Warrior, I never understood it. The clarity of mind he had drew me to him, and I wanted to be just like him. Zach and I spent an incredible amount of time together, whether it was after school every day on the weekends and even during holidays. I don't have a lot of family and never had any brothers or sisters, so Zach and I became like brothers. I have friends I have known my whole life, but none of them are as close with me as I was with Zach. He was the brother I always wanted, and the only person who could guess what I was thinking before the thought fully formed in my own mind. I never imagined I would find someone with whom I was so in tune with and could completely confide in. We saw eye to eye on just about everything and would even act the same way without being conscious of it. Sydney has taken multiple photos of him and I sleeping in the exact same position, like a mirror image of one another. It's kind of eerie, he writes, and he chuckles. As much as I would like to say that Zach and I were still goofing off and getting into shenanigans, that was not the purpose of his journey. Zachary passed away in August of 2016 from a rare form of cancer called nut midline carcinoma. Zachary's parents, having medical and holistic practices, did everything humanly possible to fight off this illness, and Zach himself fought like a true and valiant warrior for as long as he could. After months of wondering what if, asking myself questions, and going through every emotion between anger and depression, the only thing that gave me some form of comfort was accepting that Zach's journey was set in destiny, and that his passing had a much greater meaning. As the saying goes, the brightest stars burn out the fastest. Zachary was a star that brought immense amounts of light wherever he went. He was the type of person you couldn't help but like, and whose laughter would make the sternest of people guffaw on the spot. There are many misconceptions out there about what a soulmate really is. Of course, there is no right or wrong definition, but I have come to understand soulmates as being entirely different as to what you hear about in the movies. Soulmates are just that, mates of your soul. They share a similar energy to you and perhaps come into this world with a similar purpose. I believe soulmates come together to help remind one another of their purpose. I believe soulmates come together to help awaken each other and remind each other of who they really are. Essentially, encountering a soulmate can help to awaken and stir things from within you, so you can reconnect with your soul essence. Soulmates touch us in such deep and profound ways that their memory will always remain. That being said, I wholeheartedly believe with every fiber of my being that Zachary and I were soulmates. I looked up to him like a big brother, I thought of him as a hero, and there is nothing in this world that I would trade for the memories we made. Before passing, Zachary and his family founded a nonprofit organization called Place of Possibility. This company focuses on paying forward the possibility of love and hope, as well as making a difference in this world through the ripple effects that will spread globally as a result of our intentions, efforts, and projects. All things are possible, so we are not limiting our scope of impact. We are here for all possibility. However, we do have a laser focus on our core values and the campaigns that manifest as a result of them. Even though the miracle of him surviving this horrendously challenging cancer was not to be, we experienced and are still experiencing many beautiful miracles as a result of the life Zachary lived. Project Parent is our largest project to date. The goal of Project Parent is to support families whose children have been diagnosed with a terminal illness or in hospice, so that the parents of these children can take time off from work to spend quality time with their loved ones without the burden of the lack of income for those days. The main source of fundraising for this possibility is done through local events we hold here in the Central Florida area. Brian, would you like to speak up? Zach's soulmate, Brian. A very special young man, as well as so many of Zach's friends. He truly was just a bright, magnetic light and attracted to him so many amazing hearts. And I'll share a little bit more about some of those hearts in a little bit. We have, through the end of 2019, supported 27 families who have children on hospice here in the Central Florida area. And when you think of 27 families that are experiencing these types of life, it's not even life-challenging, life-altering experiences for every single person in the family. So we have supported these families with a payday off from work. We basically ask them how much they make per day, and we write them a check, as long as we have funds in our account. As I said, we do have different focuses. We also have supported quite a number of grieving families, some single moms, who haven't been able to pay their electric bills or put food on the table for other children during the time of their journey. We had a family, I got a phone call from hospice, and every now and then they'll reach out with a different request, the project parent. They had a family who I believe the daughter was in her upper teens. She had passed, and she was at the mortuary, and the family could not afford to pay for services, and they would not release her body. So in order for them to have services for their daughter, they needed help. So Place of Possibility wrote a check to the mortuary to have their daughter's body released for a proper burial. So these are some of the types of things that we are doing as it relates to our hospice work and our parents that are in need in this area. And it still blows me away that there are so many families. Currently, right now, I had a family reach out to me with a 15-year-old son who was also diagnosed with midline carcinoma. And I've been following their story and reaching out a little bit. And it looks like this young man is not going to survive, just as Zach did not. When Zach was diagnosed with midline carcinoma, we couldn't even find a survivor. I think he was one of the first 45 people known in the world to receive such diagnosis. So while we are going through our lives and enjoying ourselves, which, you know, that's what life is for, but life is both. How many of you have ever had an experience with Play-Doh? Anybody not?
Right.
Anybody not play with Play-Doh as a kid? So how many of you are curious as to why you've been playing with Play-Doh tonight? Well, I'm gonna keep this brief because the line at the bar got a little bit long and we have an evening to move through and we have a lot of great information and special things that we want to share with you. As I was preparing for tonight, I will just tell you that it is nothing short of a miracle that this event is going on. Because in August of this year, my life went kind of topsy-turvy. And so I've really been kind of reflecting on it. I had, in my mind, a lot of time dedicated to fill this room. My intention after last year was to have 150 people in this room, which is max capacity, so that next year we could grow into an even bigger room. And a couple weeks ago, I was praying for 25, 30 people. So we've done an amazing job, and you know, if it weren't for a few stomach bugs and things like that, we have an even fuller room. But when I started reflecting on what those challenges were that were kind of in my path, I started thinking about Play-Doh and how in life we are creators. We are powerful creators. And our whole entire experience of our life is based on what we make it. Every word we speak to someone else, it drops into their world, and it has a positive impact, a negative impact, maybe a neutral impact, but it's landing in another world. Every thought we think has impact in our world. There's an amazing book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and he also, I believe, wrote Outwitting the Devil. This gentleman was back from the early 1900s, and it always amazes me that a writer, a being that lived in the early 1900s, had such an awareness of how powerful we were. So our Play-Doh kind of represents that we have this Play-Doh, and we're free to shape and mold our lives in any way we want with our Play-Doh. When we have one color Play-Doh, when we have one color Play-Doh and we interact with somebody else, right? So how many of you had an opportunity to get another color piece of Play-Doh? Anybody not? Anybody who is still there saying 2 pieces? Okay, you can have opportunity later, I won't pick on you. So if you mixed your Play-Doh, that would be a similar thing as someone speaking into your world, okay? Or spending time with another person, or possibly marrying someone, or having a child. Have you ever tried to separate Play-Doh once it's mixed? It never separates. That person's energy is forever a part of your life experience. So look, I'm not here to tell you what is and what isn't, because honestly, there's no person that walks the face of the earth that knows. Most of our experience here is based on faith, trust, and belief. It's not until we leave here that we will have an understanding, if that is your belief, that there is something farther. And we are, again, all free to have our own belief systems. So another something happens in life, and I don't have my bowl, but I think as you walked in the door, you were given another piece of Play-Doh. And honestly, I'm going to give kudos to Play-Doh because since I have little ones, they've really come a long way. Play-Doh doesn't get hard very easy anymore. So last night I'm cutting up all my Play-Doh expecting it to be dry by today, and it wasn't. And I'm like, what are they doing with this stuff? So I baked it, and I finally managed to get them a little bit harder. That hard piece of Play-Doh, okay, will represent circumstance. So I used to believe that we were really at cause of everything that we experienced in life until Zach got his diagnosis. And I looked at who he was, who we were, and that there is the greater plan, but that was circumstance that was dropped into our life. Yet still, no matter what your life circumstance is, okay, we still are free to choose what we're going to do with it. Whether we're going to choose to have a positive experience in our life or continue to be constantly challenged with that piece of Play-Doh. So the piece of Play-Doh will always remain hard. You can wrap it up with, your soft Play-Doh, but we have circumstance that carries with us. And again, it's what we choose to do with it. So as Frederick was talking about, we have this energy about ourselves. We are an energy form in our different organs of our body. And all of that interacts. It mixes with our thoughts, and it mixes with our emotions, and it mixes with our physical body. Have you ever gotten nervous and had to run to the bathroom, or gotten stressed and had a headache? So that's very important to be aware of in your experience of life, is that what you're thinking and your emotions are having physical impact as well. So we're one physical being, and we have multiple aspects of ourselves. So for Place of Possibility, when I work with my clients, it's not so matter what your circumstances are, but what your experience of your life is, and what you can do to have a positive experience regardless of your circumstance over time. And emotions and thoughts, there's going to be time to work, right? I literally spent close to 3 years in a physical living hell after the passing of my child. And to look at me, I mean, obviously, I do look a little different. Not to say you can't tell at all, because when I look at pictures, I was sharing with my brothers, it's like my light went out when Zach passed. You can see it in my pictures. But to a random stranger, we're beings walking around, but it's important to remember that we never know what's going on inside that being, what their experience is. And so having a focus of kindness to our other humans, because we never know what their experience is. So wrapping this up with it being a miracle, okay, that I'm standing here literally, and there are so many miracles in this room tonight, from Mavis and her creating this amazing, beautiful artwork for me. And where's our pianist?
Yeah.
Kylie. Yeah. Randomly met 2 weeks ago. Amy and I were meeting in a coffee shop to go over all of our graphics, and long story short, there was miracles in that. My cup of tea that I didn't want milk in, they asked me what kind of milk, and I said okay, and they put milk in, and they brought it to me with a frog butterfly on top of my cup, right? So it was really just a miraculous night. And again, long story short, Kelly has a great story if you want to chat with her and ask her about the miracles that flow from her. How old were you when you first touched your keyboard? 16, and the music that she played, she wrote herself. Never a lesson.
Wow.
So she overheard our conversation, and our jazz band, if you remember Frank Taylor, I was in the middle of chaos, in the middle of an airport changing planes, and Frank's calling me, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so angry, I'm so upset, I'm so hurt because this event means so much to me. 3 of my band members bailed on me because they got offered a little bit more money to play somewhere else, and Frank was like, oh my gosh. So I was without music, nobody could get us music, and I randomly met Kylie, and here she is tonight. So great, amazing, miraculous. Frank, please come be with us tonight. Play us a solo. I want you to be a part of this. And he called and he said, you know what's happened? He's like, I've been invited to receive an award tonight. And I said, you know what? Go receive your award. That's absolutely miraculous. But can anybody see the tie here? Oops, someone played a ball. His guys bailed on him, but he had an opportunity to be somewhere else, and it all came together perfectly, right? It all came together perfectly. I'm in California, so I've been desirous to have my grandchildren in my life more and more frequently, and I'm out in California. And I've also been asking, am I supposed to be East Coast or West Coast? Because I don't know if you know, for 2 years I've been going back and forth, and it really started wearing on me. It's a lot of energy. And then I was also living in an RV, and I thought I'd be living in an RV for a long time, and I started feeling, I don't know, am I supposed to be living in this RV? So I had 3 specific questions that I was asking, and you know what? I got my answers, and it flipped my world upside down. And I'm going to tell you, the last 8 weeks have not been fun. Okay, I'm grateful for who I am, and I know to just like let it flow. The engine in my RV blew up in the middle of Arizona on a 2-lane highway, 30 miles, 40 minutes from the Grand Canyon. There is nothing around. I have myself, my daughter and her husband, 3 children under the age of 6, 2 cats and a dog, and we're on the side of a road, okay? Like, we joked, we made light of it, it was, it was okay, but I'm telling you, it was, National Lampoon's Family Vacation on steroids. I'm telling you, couldn't make that up. So, the result of all that is, I am permanently back here in Lake Mary, so that with our medical practice and our new practitioner, Sabrina, and interact more fully with hospice, our pediatric hospice team, be in, number one, really be in more close contact with my children. And, the sky's the limit. So I have said, and you can read our declaration in the paper, that this possibility will be the largest, most impactful nonprofit organization in the history of mankind. And you know why that's going to happen? Because it's possible. Yeah. Because it's possible. Because someone is, right? So, I'd like to say that this is a special night for me because it is the first time in quite a while that logistically I have all 4 of my children present in this room tonight. Jeffrey, did you see it? Jackie? Zoe? And Zachary? Give us some good stuff tonight. So anyway, this is a very special evening, and I have another family, thank you guys, that I would introduce very briefly, and then I'm going to acknowledge some people who have supported the evening. Then we're going to have dinner, and then after dinner, I have some awards that I'm going to give out. So for the first 2 years, I've been talking about the awards and giving hugs, but this year, I actually got the awards made, so I'm super excited about that. And we're going to do that after we eat. We're also going to have opportunity to continue to mingle with all the raffles and have a great time. But this past year, there's another family of people that have really created a very strong bond. So if Brian, Maria, Brian, Nick, Kelly, Sarah Becca, Maria, who am I missing? Did I miss anybody? Stand up. Anybody that's on our daily texting, our daily intentions, our daily gratitude, right? So I gotta tell you, the love and the watching this team grow. Amy, you're on a message. I'm so sweet. Amy's so sweet. So yeah, I mean, just amazing people, and I'm telling you that the support from all of these amazing people to create what we're doing here and support these families and all the other possibilities that we're working on. And I will have opportunity to talk a little bit more about them after dinner. So give these guys just an amazing. So one of my goals as a possibility is to be reaching out and really asking for more corporate sponsorship. So we can promote the corporations and the corporations can support us and we can have more impact. So we have Snedeker Law represented here today, and they're one of our corporate sponsors. If you guys want to stand and Family Dentistry, and they are not here tonight, but they have supported us generally just in the past week. Bowties in general supports all of our events, and I don't think their corporate team was able to be with us here tonight. We do have a lot of members of the Bowties family though, so thank you all for coming and supporting us and being at all of our events. It really makes a huge difference. And Lake Mary Family Care, which is our family business, does a lot to support what goes on with Place of Possibility, a lot. And Dr. Dillahay in particular is very generous to support everything that we're doing, so thank you so much. If you would kindly look at the backs of your programs, all of these merchants, and Sarah Becca, if you stand for one moment. So Sarah Becca has almost single-handedly acquired most of the contributions we have, and that's something that typically I've done myself. It's getting to a point where I can't do everything. I need a team, and this team has really stepped up. So she has done an amazing job reaching out to the local merchants and expanding our contact base. So seriously, these silent auction items, let's support these merchants so they'll continue to support us and do your Christmas shopping. Buy yourself something nice. Right? All right. Okay, well, with that being said, we are going to have dinner. Is anybody hungry? Yes.
Give it up for Sydney! Give it up for Sydney! Right before we go for dinner, yes, give it up for Sydney. I read an article recently about positive masculinity, and when Sydney was talking about what Ryan wrote, it just brought goosebumps all over my body. I think that Ryan is the example of what positive masculinity is in this world. Yes?
Yes.
Can we give it a big round of applause, please? And right before I begin the very first, I'm going to do a great prayer for tonight. Can everybody please stand up? Everybody please stand up and just shake it like that. Shake it. Shake your booty. Yes, and sit down. Have a seat. The next person that is coming on stage is Michael. Hold up for Michael, please.
Hey again. Before doing dinner, I wanted to do a blessing. And while I was sitting here thinking about the blessing, listening to Sydney talk, thinking about the journey that we've been on for close to 4 years with Zachary's original diagnosis, I started thinking about the spiritual aspect of this entire experience. Those of us who do hospice, and I'd like to recognize my team back here, Team 195 from Bowties, very well represented. I've been with Bowties 16 years. I've been a team physician for that team for that entire time. Faith, I've known forever. She was there before me. Wonderful team, we do wonderful work. When we see amazing miracles on a regular basis. When you do end-of-life care and you're with people when they die, you cannot question that the other side really exists, because we've seen it. When Zachary passed, we were with him, and I saw the look on his face when he went home to be with the Lord. And through the weeks, months, and years since, so many amazing things. Cindy does a good job of journaling all of her amazing experiences. Sometimes I feel a little left out, because I think Zachary spends way too much time with her when he just spends no time in my house. But I do have my moments. I have a little crystal that's got a holograph of Zoe and Zachary inside of it. It's on a little lead base that's activated by touching. And this thing turns itself on all the time. If it's already on, it pumps up in intensity. Now the grandkids come over, Brianna especially loves to touch and turn it up and down and up and down and up and down. So when the kids have been there, I turn it off, because if it's on the high intensity, it's too hot. And it's underneath the shelf and it gets too hot there, so I turn it off. Sometimes it'll go weeks before I turn it off, and I'll start getting all bent out of shape and start getting sad that, well, maybe it's not gonna happen anymore, and then out of the blue, it turns on. And a lot of times, even if I get up to go to the bathroom in the other room where that is, and I come out of the bathroom and the light's on. I'm like, well, maybe it's static electricity, because I walk by and the light turns on. One time I was standing in my study, which is right across the hall from it, 20 feet from that light, and I felt it turn on behind me. And I turned around and saw that the light was on. And we have a camera in that room that records, and I've gone back and looked to see if I could actually see Zachary turning on the light. But, for all intents and purposes, I know it's him. And sometimes he waits, I think, for me to complain. There was one time, I was at one of the nursing homes in the parking lot, and I was whining to Sydney, probably in tears, because my light hadn't turned on in quite some time. I went home, the very next morning, the light turned on. And I'm gonna take just a couple more minutes, I know we're late for dinner. But all these experiences, anybody who is friends with me on Facebook, I kind of told this story. Zachary's birthday was Thursday, and I was having a bit of a rough day. I always go out to the cemetery. He's buried in the National Cemetery in Nims. So it's about an hour drive. But I stopped and bought some flowers, a card, and a balloon, a Milo balloon, a healing. And I went out to the cemetery. It was a beautiful day, Thursday, around noon. When I got there, they have nice little setups where you can deal with the flowers, you got vases, water. So I was tending to the flowers, and I suddenly heard gunfire. Then I heard another round. I thought, oh, it's a 21-gun salute. There must be a funeral today. And I could actually see in the section where Zachary's buried, there was a plot waiting for a burial. And okay, that explains that. And then suddenly I started hearing some rumbling. Then I started feeling some rumbling. And the NASA had launched a rocket, this is Canaveral. It says we're just up the street from the Space Center. I'm like, well, that's cool. NASA's helping to celebrate Zachary's birthday. So I went and visited. I attached the balloon to the flowers, and there's actually, unfortunately, several people. I'm either taking care of his patients or acquaintances in the cemetery, so I usually make the rounds. I go up to the main building. It's an hour drive there, hour drive home, so I usually go to the restroom before I head home. And on the way back, and as you drive out of the cemetery, all the sections are on your right. And I could see the Mylar balloon, it was silver, dancing in the wind. It was pretty breezy that day. And then you exit the cemetery, and the whole section is on your right. Just as I was exiting the cemetery, his Mylar balloon comes scooping down in front of my car. I'm like, oh, okay. So I stopped, left my car running, got out, got the balloon. I had to climb over a wall to get back up into the cemetery. I went and reconnected the balloon. I'm like, okay, very funny, Zachary. And then driving home, probably the most amazing part of this afternoon, I have an old cell phone. It's probably like 5 years old. I usually have my DDoS phone connected in driving mode. but I was gonna call one of my friends in Cleveland on the way home, so I switched phones. And after I switched the phones, I called him, he was busy, so he's gonna call me back. And then I got a text message, which was actually Janet's hairdresser's receipt, because she was getting her hair done Thursday for tonight, which I should have even have gotten. And then my cell phone digs down deep into old text messages and sends them to me. Messages from years ago. And this time I got 3 or 4 text messages in a row. One of them was from Zachary. And I don't remember exactly what it said. It was,
It's crazy down here.
you know, he said, I forgot, it's been crazy here. So, you know, just in the darkness of your despair, you know, just a reminder from Zachary, the higher level of God himself, you know, it's like you're not alone. And it's always good to be reminded of that. And then I would just like to do a little prayer for dinner. Good and gracious Father in heaven, we recognize all life is a gift and a blessing. We thank you for your most generous love. Encourage us to be persons of honesty and integrity, worthy of proclaiming the gospel in this sacred ministry of fundraising. Help us to always reverence the sacred space where our donors and our missions meet. Give us openness to listen to the needs of our donors. Give us joyful spirits and encourage us to engage others. Give us hopeful imagination and creative vision, recognizing generosity in even the smallest gift. Give us strong, steadfast hearts in times of discouragement. Give us trusting hearts, knowing that the fruits of labors will be realized long after we are gone. Give us faithful hearts, deeply committed to your realm. O Lord, let us feel your presence so that we know we are never truly alone. Remind us always that what we do for the least of our sisters and brothers, we do for you. We ask this in Jesus' name and in the unity of the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right.